The air inside the Global Peace and Development Summit in Geneva felt electric. The world's eyes were locked onto the live broadcast. Leaders from every continent were gathered. Flags from dozens of nations fluttered behind a glowing blue stage. Captain Ibrahim Traoré sat calmly behind his microphone, wearing his olive-green military uniform. Former U.S. President Donald Trump, bold as ever, stood at the opposite end, adjusting his red tie. The two men had never met in person until now. The moderator welcomed the panel. Applause rang out. Then Trump spoke. He smiled into the camera and said, "The world was safer when America led. Africa, we gave you billions. And what did we get? Nothing." The room went still. Ibrahim slowly reached for his mic. He didn't flinch. He didn't blink. He simply said, "Mr. Trump, you lied to the world." A loud gasp rolled through the hall. Cameras zoomed in. The crowd froze. A woman in the audience covered her mouth. A delegate from Kenya dropped his pen. Another from France whispered, "Did he just say that?" Trump stared at him, stunned, but Ibrahim wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. Silence cracked like thunder. Ibrahim's voice was firm yet calm, unshaken. "You lied about our people. You lied about helping us. You made promises. And then you left us with nothing but debt, sanctions, and sorrow." The translator's voice echoed in multiple languages as the audience leaned in. Trump raised an eyebrow, scoffing. "I gave aid. We saved millions." Ibrahim paused. "Do you know what your aid did, Mr. Trump? It fed warlords. It killed farms. It crushed dreams. Your companies came, took our gold, our oil, and left our children starving." The hall rumbled, with murmurs. Even CNN cut to breaking news. Traoré publicly confronts Trump at Global Summit. A Nigerian diplomat whispered, "He's saying what we've all wanted to say for years." A young African boy watching on TV with his grandmother turned and said, "Grandma, he's not scared." She nodded with tears in her eyes. "That's a real leader." Trump leaned in, red with anger. "I helped your country survive, but Traoré didn't yell. He looked Trump straight in the eyes and said, 'No, you helped us depend.'" The entire summit hall fell silent again. Then something no one expected happened. A single clap echoed from the back. At first, it was just one clap, slow, deliberate, then another and another. Within seconds, the room was erupting in applause. Delegates from Ghana, Bolivia, Bangladesh, even Canada stood one by one, clapping louder, stronger. Some had tears in their eyes. Others raised their fists. Trump stood still, visibly stunned. His smile faded. His posture stiffened. Ibrahim didn't smile. He simply folded his hands and looked at the crowd. Calm, steady, powerful. Somewhere in the back, a journalist whispered into his mic, "This is history in the making." Meanwhile, outside the summit building, thousands watching on a giant screen began cheering. Some wept. African students held their phones up, live streaming. The moment with captions like, "He said what no one else dared." Inside the hall, Trump muttered into his mic, "They don't understand the full picture." Ibrahim turned to him, eyes sharp. "Maybe you should come and see our picture, Mr. Trump. Not from your tower, from our soil." Gasps again. Trump's hand trembled slightly as he reached for his water. Then suddenly, the moderator announced, "Due to the rising tension, we'll take a 10-minute break." But the break didn't cool the fire. It made it burn hotter. Because what happened during the break changed everything. During the break, a young woman approached Traoré backstage. She was trembling, holding a folded piece of paper. "I came all the way from Burkina Faso," she whispered. "I lost my father because of what they did. I just wanted to thank you." Traoré looked at her. She couldn't be older than 22. He gently opened the note. Inside were just 7 words scribbled in shaky handwriting. "Thank you for giving us our voice." He folded it slowly, placing it in his pocket without a word. His eyes said everything. Back inside, Trump was pacing. His team huddled in whispers. One advisor warned, "You can't let him control the narrative." Trump replied, "He won't." But Ibrahim didn't want control. He wanted truth. As the summit resumed, the moderator nervously adjusted his mic. Let's continue with questions from the public. The first came from a teenage boy watching live from Mali. President Trump, why did your soldiers shoot my uncle? He was only guarding his farm. Trump froze. Ibrahim looked away, jaw tight. The crowd turned quiet again. It was no longer just politics. It was personal, and Ibrahim knew it was time to tell the story no one expected. Ibrahim leaned into the mic. I remember a boy, he said. His name was Adama. He was 12. He loved drawing trees in the sand. His father owned a little plot in Jibo. The room hushed. One day, Ibrahim continued. A drone flew overhead. The next morning, the boy's body was found with his father. No warning, no trial, just silence. He paused. The report called it an error, collateral damage. Trump shifted in his seat. His team looked uneasy. This isn't about anger, Ibrahim said softly. It's about pain. It's about a child who never held a weapon but died with his eyes wide open. A woman in the front row started crying. On the live stream, comments exploded. I can't stop crying. Why didn't we hear this before? He's telling our story. Ibrahim didn't speak with hate. He spoke with hurt, the kind that lives in silence for years. Trump tried to interrupt. That wasn't me personally. Ibrahim held up a hand. I'm not blaming a man, he said. I'm blaming a system that chose profit over people. You represented that system. A long silence followed. Then came a deeper twist, one that would break even the coldest hearts. Ibrahim reached into his jacket and slowly pulled out a worn photograph. He held it up. This was taken 2 weeks before Adama died, he said. The screen behind him zoomed in on the picture. A young boy barefoot smiling, holding a pencil and a plastic bag as a notebook. I met him once, Ibrahim said. He told me, one day I'll draw the whole sky. A soft sob was heard from the audience. Then the image shifted to a scorched tree, the same tree the boy once drew, burned ashes. That's what was left, he whispered. Trump looked down. The moderator was speechless. Even the camera crew hesitated to move. Ibrahim's voice cracked just for a moment. This summit isn't about speeches. It's about souls. About children who dream under bombs. About mothers burying sons. About men like you, Mr. Trump, who shook hands with dictators while we buried our people. He folded the photo gently and placed it back inside his jacket. The crowd didn't cheer, they didn't move, they cried. Some stood, not in applause, but in silence. And still, the hardest part hadn't even been told yet. The summit resumed, but the room no longer felt like a political hall. It felt like a courtroom, a sacred space. Then something unexpected happened. The moderator pointed to a woman in the audience. She stood middle-aged, wrapped in a patterned shawl, voice soft but firm. I am the mother of Adama, she said. Gasps. Even Trey looked stunned. Trump froze. I didn't come here to accuse, she continued. I came because my son died with dreams, not of war, of becoming a teacher. He drew stars in the dirt. A tear rolled down her cheek. Captain Traoré, you remembered him. No one else did, not even my own government. Traoré rose slowly, walked toward her. Without a word, he bowed deeply. The room erupted, not in noise, but in tears. People cried not for politics, but for Adama, the boy no one had known until now. Trump tried to speak, but his voice cracked. The mother turned to him. You may not have pulled the trigger, but your silence pulled something worse. Her words were gentle, but they cut deeper than any accusation. And just then, a powerful revelation began to surface, one hidden in American documents Traoré had secretly brought with him. The lights dimmed slightly. Ibrahim returned to the microphone holding a leather folder. These, he said, are declassified communications between U.S. military advisors and private contractors in West Africa. Most of them never reached your news channels. The audience leaned forward. Trey opened the folder. The screen behind him lit up with blurry but real screenshots, emails, orders, satellite timestamps. They spoke of targets. They used words like minimal consequence. One file listed a village new labeled as suspected hostile despite being a farming community. He flipped to another page. Then it was neutralized with fire. A photo appeared. Burnt fields, scattered shoes, a broken toy truck. This, he said, voice trembling, wasn't just war, it was business. Trump finally rose. You're making this personal. It is personal, Traoré snapped. For the first time, his voice broke. Because these weren't just numbers. They were people. They were my people. A small boy in the crowd watching from a live screen whispered to his father, "Why did they burn? The farms?" His father had no answer, just silent tears. This wasn't just diplomacy anymore. This was Judgment Day, and the world was watching. After the file presentation, a quiet pause fell over the summit. Then from the back of the room came a gentle, sound-singing children. A choir from Burkina Faso had come to perform. The organizers had planned it for closing, but the children asked to come now. Traoré gave a nod. They walked in slowly, dressed in white barefoot, and they sang. Not a loud anthem, just a soft, broken lullaby about waiting for fathers who never returned. About cooking rice for brothers who would never come home. About writing letters to the sky, hoping someone would read them. The song wasn't perfect, but it shattered the room. Reporters stopped taking notes. Soldiers in the corner wiped tears. Even Trump's own bodyguard looked down, swallowing hard. At the end of the song, one little girl stepped forward and said, "We don't want revenge. We just want to live." The camera panned across the audience. So many were crying. Others just sat stunned. Ibrahim placed a hand on the girl's shoulder, and in that moment he wasn't just a captain. He was a father to a generation that had lost too many. But what he revealed next would shake the entire world order. Just when the summit seemed to calm, Traoré reached into his jacket and pulled out something unexpected, a small cloth bundle tied with string. He untied it slowly and revealed a child's notebook, worn and dusty. This, he said quietly, was found in the ruins of a village drone strike. The child's name was Idrissa, 8 years old. He was learning to write in French and dreaming to become a doctor. He opened the pages in the child's handwriting. "One day I will heal my mother." The audience gasped. Then came a drawing, a stick figure family. One figure was circled with the word mama and a heart next to it. Below it, the words, "I love you." Traoré's voice cracked. This was all that survived the flames. Silence. Even Trump looked away. The camera zoomed in as a single tear ran down Traoré's face. This summit isn't about blame. It's about truth and justice for those who had no voice. The crowd was no longer political. They were human, and the world was listening. Suddenly, a man from the U.S. delegation stood up. Everyone turned. He was older, tall, shaking slightly. His nameplate read James Roth, a former military intelligence officer. "I wasn't supposed to speak," he said, "but I can't live with this anymore." The room held its breath. "I was part of Operation Sentinel. I saw what happened in Burkina Faso. I followed orders even when I knew they were wrong." Trump's eyes widened. "James, sit down." But James didn't. "We were told to label local resistance groups as terror threats just to justify military action and keep defense contracts flowing." He looked down. The deaths weren't accidental. They were strategic to open corridors for mining deals. The crowd erupted in horror. James turned to Traoré. "I'm sorry," he said. "We failed your people. I failed your people." Traoré didn't respond. He simply nodded as if he had already known, but was waiting for someone from the other side to admit. The confession spread like wildfire across social media. This wasn't just politics anymore. It was a global awakening, and the fallout, it hadn't even begun. Backstage, an aide handed Traoré a brown envelope. "It was sent by a refugee camp in Mali," she said. He opened it. Inside was a single photograph. A group of children holding a sign that read "New onto Capitan." We believe in you, Captain. Below it, a handwritten note. Please don't let them forget us. Traoré returned to the stage. He held up the photo. This is why I came today. Not for applause, not for war, but for them. His voice dropped. You see numbers. I see names. I see faces. He turned to Trump. You had the world's attention. You had the power to stop all this. But instead, you made deals behind closed doors while villages burned. Trump didn't reply. He couldn't because right then tears welled in the eyes of millions watching across the world from Burkina Faso to Brazil. Children, mothers, veterans, nurses, students. Everyone felt it. The pain, the truth, and something more powerful. Hope. But what Traoré did next on live global television would become the most replayed moment in modern summit history. A journalist from South Africa raised her hand. Captain Traoré, we've just received a live upload from a local NGO. It shows what happened after the US drone left Kumasi village. She was trembling. May I play it? Traoré nodded silently. The screen behind them flickered to life. A shaky phone video appeared. A boy no older than 6 was screaming beside a burning hut. He dragged what looked like a bedsheet. Inside it, his mother lifeless, her arm hanging out. He cried out one word, over and over. Mama, mama. The summit hall froze. Some delegates covered their mouths. Others wept openly. Even viewers at home couldn't breathe. The chat on the live stream exploded. Is this real? God help us, how did this happen? Then came the sound of a drone overhead in the video. The boy ducked. Trump looked down. Traoré's voice finally broke the silence. This is not just about Burkina Faso. This is about the soul of the world. The audience didn't clap. They didn't move. They simply sat silent because nothing could ever be the same again. At that moment, a camera panned to the far corner of the summit stage. There was a single empty chair. A placard rested on it. It read, Amadou Sawadogo, age 7, absent, due to war. The camera zoomed in. The internet exploded. Who is Amadou? Why is his name here? What happened to him? Traoré walked to the chair. In every summit we bring leaders. We wear suits. We speak policy. He turned to the chair and whispered, but they never bring children. They never bring the ones we failed. The audience began crying. Then he looked into the camera. Amadou's village was attacked while he was walking to school. He survived, but he watched his best friend Mohamedou lose both legs. He paused. Amadou wanted to come here today. He told the Red Cross, I want to ask why they bombed my classroom. A screen lit up behind Traoré. A photo of Amadou smiling with missing front teeth flashed. He's watching now. Traoré raised a hand in salute. To all the Amadous of this world, your voice matters. At home, countless viewers were now weeping. This wasn't a summit anymore, it was a global mirror, and it was breaking hearts. The moderator, still shaky, turned to Trump. Mr. President, do you want to respond? For the first time, Trump didn't have a script. Node whispered in his ear. He cleared his throat. The hall waited. I didn't know about these specifics. I was told we were fighting terror. He shifted. The audience didn't buy it. Traoré stepped forward, but not with anger, with sadness. You had satellites. You had intelligence. You had every chance to pause and ask, what if we're wrong? But you didn't. A long pause. History won't remember tweets. It won't remember applause. It will remember silence when voices needed us most. A murmur of agreement rippled through the hall. Trump's lips moved as if to speak again, but nothing came out. The moderator whispered, Captain Traoré, final words for this session. Traoré looked directly into the camera. To every mother who buried her child, to every village erased, to every forgotten soul, we see you now and we will never be silent again. At that exact moment, millions of people watching online began crying. The summit chat was flooded. I'm sobbing. This broke me. Captain Trout is the voice of the voiceless. And, still the most powerful moment was yet to come. Suddenly a voice came through the summit's livestream channel. A translator stepped in. "We have a call from Burkina Faso. It's Amadou." Gasps. No one expected this. The audio crackled. Then the soft voice of a 7-year-old boy echoed across the room. "Captain, what are you still there?" Traoré stood still. "Yes, Amadou, I hear you." The boy continued. "My village doesn't have roofs anymore, but I still have my voice. Thank you for using yours." At that moment, the room went quiet. Even the most powerful people in the world were crying. Diplomats, security, journalists, viewers around the globe broke down. "I just wanted them to know I'm still here," Amadou whispered. Traoré blinked slowly, fighting tears. "You are not forgotten," he said. "You are the reason I came." Then the boy said something that no one expected. "I forgive them." The silence after that was holy. Trump looked down. No words. The weight of the world was now clear. A child who had every reason to hate chose to forgive. It wasn't just politics anymore. It was humanity laid bare. As the room processed Amadou's words, Trump stood slowly, uncharacteristically quiet. He stepped toward Traoré, then he extended his hand. "I didn't come here to apologize," he said, "but I am." The crowd froze. "I didn't understand what we did. I didn't listen. And I'm sorry for every village, every life, every silence I chose." Traoré didn't shake his hand. Not yet. Instead, he looked around the room. "To all nations who stayed quiet when Africa bled, will you speak now?" Silence. Then one by one, hands went up. Germany, Chile, India, Norway, Ghana, France. Pledges of investigation, aid, and justice filled the air. It was as if the whole world stood taller together. Then Traoré looked back at Trump. "I don't need your hand. I need your honesty." Trump nodded and dropped his arm. A journalist whispered to her colleague, "History just changed." And at that moment, the summit was no longer about power. It became a turning point, the kind that's remembered in textbooks. The child's voice had moved mountains, but the final words would belong to Traoré. Captain Traoré returned to the small empty chair with Amadou's name. He knelt beside it. A spotlight followed him. "I want to close this summit," he said with a story. He pulled a folded letter from his pocket. "This is from Amadou's mother. She wrote it before the attack. It was never delivered." He read it out loud. "My son, wherever life takes you, speak the truth. Even if your voice shakes, even if no one listens, the world needs hearts like yours." By now the entire summit hall was weeping. Even people watching from their phones were sobbing, hands over mouths. Traoré looked into the camera for the last time. "If we want peace, we must start with truth. If we want justice, we must begin with courage. And if we want to save the future, we must listen to the children who cry in the dark." Then gently he placed the letter on Amadou's chair. He stood. The hall erupted, not just with claps, but with tears, with heartache, with hope. And now to my dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, even just a little, please like this video. If you cried with us, please comment, "I stand with Amadou." And if you believe the world needs more stories like this, then hit subscribe and join our family because your voice matters. Let's keep telling the truth. Let's keep making the world